Hey guys, what's up? It's Yanina and welcome to season 2, Similarly Different. We are back for another season. I have been so excited to get back on here and talk to you guys because first of all, you guys rocked season 1. We unmasked together. I spoke to so many of you guys about so many different things. We got deep, we cried, we laughed, we looked back, and we pushed forward. And with that being said, season 2 is all about leveling up. I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but when it comes to different artists and their eras, we're on a new era, and the new era is blossoming, sprouting, leveling up, and being your best self no matter what age you are. Because listen, timing is of the essence, and you still got time, honey. So if you are listening to this for the first time, you got a whole season to go back to and listen to and get some tissues because it gets really deep, but then you'll be smiling afterwards. Now, for this episode, I needed to start it off with a one-on-one. I needed to have a talk with you guys, see how you guys are doing, and there's so many things in this season that I'm so excited to share with you guys. But a few little facts to start off this episode. So I talked about leveling up and timing being of the essence and it never being too late. So I wanted to find some stats and share with you guys about some women and men that literally did not make timing be a problem for them. Vera Wang did not start in the wedding dress industry until she was 40. And before that, not only was she a journalist, but she was also a figure skater. Colonel Sanders didn't start KFC until he was 60. And honestly, I wonder if he's a Taurus because he probably just couldn't find the crispy chicken that he wanted. Martha Stewart was a stockbroker until she started her catering business at the age of 39, which is such an important thing to mention because I'm in my 30s and I think a lot of us think that we're supposed to have life figured out. So 39 starting a whole new business really shows you that there is no time where it's too late. If you get an idea, just do it. Her big break wasn't actually until she was 41, though. Morgan Freeman, who is one of my favorite actors, did not get his star role until he was 50. And a lot of my friends who are actors and may come across this podcast just know that every no that you get just gets you closer to the yes that you one day will get if you just continue and work on your craft. Mary-Kate Ash found Mary-Kate Cosmetics at the age of 45. Henry Ford introduced the Model T at 45 as well. Diana, I might butcher her last name, Need, was the first woman to swim from Cuba to Florida at the age of, are you guys ready for this? 64. I don't know how you can even hold your breath and swim. The amount of cardio and cardiovascular health that you have to have. And she did it without a shark cage. And last but not least, Stan Lee didn't write the Fantastic Four until he was 39. So those were some little tidbits that I wanted to share with you guys because, listen, timing is of the essence of when you're going to get your yes, but timing is also on the essence to be able to work on your craft, to work in the hobby, to perfect the idea that you have, and to truly work on you, which is the biggest project that you will forever be. You got to make time for that. You got to make time for those moments to break those habits, to create new habits, to shift, and to be tired of your current state. To not say be tired of your BS, And I think that, in season 1, we talked so much about things that you went through, limiting beliefs, things that, could be holding you back, things from your childhood. We truly started from the ground up. And now we have cleaned the soil, we have watered it, and we're sprouting. And if you are listening to this podcast, I can guarantee you that there is a place in your life that right now you have forgotten about, you haven't fed, you haven't treated kindly, and you've pushed to the side. And this is a time that you can really say, okay, that idea, that project, therapy, health, exercise, it could all be put into the now. And this is the time because I truly believe that when you work on the one section of your life that you have ignored, it will be like a domino effect that pours greatness into the other parts of your life that you are actively also working in. So I just wanted to talk about that in this episode because, listen, we can talk about things we've gone through our whole life We can go and nitpick on it, but how are you going to move from it? I truly believe that it is our job to go through the things that we've gone through, but we do not need to carry it, and it does not need to be our identity. I talked about it lightly at the end of season 1, and I truly believe that the way to do that is to continue to learn, to grow, to advance, and to push yourself into uncomfortable spaces continuously so that you can grow. There's that saying that the moment you're comfortable, you've stunt your growth, you've stopped growing. And this is the season for us to truly embark and take that journey into the next level of who we want to be and who we know we can be. So that's what we're talking about in this episode and in this season. Another thing is that we are not ignoring the past, but instead of staying stagnant in it, we are going to evolve. When I was thinking of the title and the vibe for this season, I was talking to my producer and I was like, it's like blooming, but it's not blooming. It's like sprouting, but it's not sprouting. And the only thing I can think of is water. And when you're swimming, you have to eventually take up and breathe because you're underwater. And there's such exhilarating feeling of swimming. And the way I think of that is like working. And then you go up for air. And when you go for air, it's like, and you get to restart it again. So I think of that as like every evolution and every step of our journey and of our life, you've reached something and now you're able to take a deep breath, look at where you are now, whether it be a different part of the pool, whether it be a different part of your career, whether it be a different part of your relationship or your relationship with self, and you're able to see your surrounding, look within and say, okay, I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to swim again into the next phase so you can reach the wall, which is your end goal, right? So then do it again. And I think there's so much beauty in that when you look at it that way, instead of like, I'm going up for breath because I can't hold my breath anymore. You know, it's all about how you see it and it's all about perception. So it's something that came to me in a weird way. And I hope you guys follow along with me because my analogy sometimes you got to be deep with it. But that's something that I wanted to share with you guys. And just to reiterate, we are not ignoring our past. If there are things in your past that you are still processing, you are allowed to be processing, you're allowed to be uncovering, and you're allowed to be, figuring yourself out through that to be able to heal, to move forward correctly. But what we don't want to do is stay stagnant, suppress, or ignore, because that is going to hold us at a train stop and not allow us to take the next train stop to the next place, which is probably beautiful, amazing, exciting, and you're actually not going to know what it's going to be until you're able to deal with this first. So if you are still in the process of it, you are not delayed, you are not moving slower. This is just your journey and your process. But in that, you could still be moving forward by admitting, deciding, and taking the plunge to say, we're going to stop ignoring this and we're going to stop suppressing this and we're going to stop doing this, because we can only go into the next level once we've been the best version of ourselves in this current state. And that includes admitting, accepting, and then moving forward. I think also something really important to take in this season is doing a look through at what energy you're surrounding yourself with, whether it be your habits, whether it be your hobbies, whether it be the people that you have around you, and really seeing, can I grow from the people around me, and do they instill life in me, or are they draining me? I think that in the leveling up and in the stage of blossoming and sprouting and growing, you don't always grow with everyone that was with you in another sector of your life. And that can be really uncomfortable to process and really disheartening at times, because sometimes they become a clutch, they become a crutch, an emotional crutch, and something that just feels familiar. But in the familiarity, you sometimes have a tendency to stay the same. And think about it this way. If you really wanted to work out, but you're around someone that it's like, it's fine. Eventually the it's fine is going to hit you. It's very rare to have the personality trait where even if all these people are saying this, that you're going to go and do the opposite. So I'm not saying do an inventory on your people and just X everybody out and say, screw the world, it's me against me, and that's it, But I think sometimes it's truly being honest with yourself and saying, is this person nice to me? Is this person happy for me? Is this person being honest with me when they see that I'm not reaching my full capacity? And are they helping me in a positive way to want to be better, do more, and truly step in my biggest light that I can be? Or are they only allowing me to shine as bright as it makes them comfortable? Because everybody that I have around me, I want to shine bright like the Empire State Building. And there is this saying that it says, if you light a candle, if you help another candle light, and if you're a candle, guess what? The room gets brighter. So it is never going to dim your light. But if you have people around you that whenever you say something, it's stupid. Whenever you share something, oh my God, here we go. Or whenever you have good news to share, they kind of don't want to celebrate it. Or they're just like, yeah, okay, anyways, moving on. Or don't acknowledge it. I would say communicate and talk about it. But even sometimes, like, they're not going to see it. So you have to see it. You can only make excuses for people for so long and understand where you just no longer are growing in. And I think that's a big part of growth, because if your soil is dirty, it ain't going to grow a strong plant. And that's just the reality of it. You can put alkaline water on it. You can pray for it every day. You can brush the leaves. It ain't going to grow. So understanding what soil and what mixture of energy you're putting in where you're trying to grow is so, so, so important. Because if you surround yourself in the same token with people that are a lot higher than you, but don't want you to grow and rather see you as like the little peon, that's not going to work either. Because you're buying expensive soil, but you're not putting water, you're not feeding it love. So it's like really finding the right equation and being honest with yourself that like sometimes it ain't just meshing, and that's okay. But I'm going to go over here because I feel better over here, And there's times where I've had to take a step back from people that were of high caliber or in better places than me, because I genuinely could see that they didn't want me to grow, and it intimidated them for me to ever be in their level. And that's also not good. They have that saying, don't be the smartest in the room. But in the same token as well, I don't want to be the dumbest in the room and that everybody pushes me to the corner. So it's understanding where you're valued and where you're seen. Because if I'm not seen in the room, why am I in this room? I'd rather be somewhere where people are like, I see you and I want to help you. I see you. Let's help each other. I see you. Like, I fuck with you. And like John Maxwell says, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Jim Rohn has that famous quote, you are the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So keep that in mind with the circle that you're creating. We're all about leveling up. We're all about growing, empowering one another. I'm so excited about all the guests that we have in this season and in this episode, but there's a new little part that we are going to be introducing in my solo episodes, and it is a segment called Similarly Curious, where you guys are going to be submitting audio messages where you guys can send in a question that you guys are curious about and have me answer it. I can give you my perspective, my opinion, and we can just chat about it. You guys already do this so much on DMs that we just decided to bring it onto the show because somebody may have the same question as you or maybe going through a similar thing like you. Never let anyone tell you that you can't achieve it. As we go into season 2 and celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, it's crucial to recognize not just our rich culture and contributions, but also the challenges we face, like balancing work, family, and the pursuit of education, because let's be honest, sometimes that just happens to come first. That's why I am happy to share that this episode is sponsored by National University. Growing up, I remember the stress of being able to go to college, being accepted into university, but also having a job was so stressful. If that's your experience too, but you do wish to attend a university, National University, a nonprofit Hispanic serving institution, understands these challenges. They offer flexible programs that are 4 and 8-week online courses designed for adult learners who are juggling full-time jobs and other responsibilities. Whether you're working a 9-to-5, raising a family, or both, NU is possible to pursue your degree without having to put your life on hold. Another reason I am so happy to partner with them is that they offer mental health services, which I'm sure that we can all agree on. It's something that we can lean on. Life is stressful enough, and furthering your education shouldn't be a stressor, but rather something that you're excited to embark. National University is truly here for us. So take this as a sign, and if you're interested in NU, there's more info on the link in the description below. And now back to the show. Okay, so for Similarly Curious, I have not, Scout's honor, not heard these messages at all. This is the first time listening to them. Any messages that we've got have gone through my producer, have not played them whatsoever, and these are all anonymous.
I have a friendship that has kind of been on the rocks for a while, and now that person is going through a really, really hard breakup. I'm having trouble trying to find the balance in supporting her in this really difficult season of her life, but also knowing that we were having some issues. It's just felt like I am being a fake friend as I try to support her, and hearing things that happened in her relationship or some of the things that happened in our friendship. And so I essentially have just not said anything because I don't want to add to the impact of what she's already feeling. And so it has weighed on my mind, and it's been very challenging knowing how to navigate both of those situations. So what advice would you give if you already felt like your friendship was broken, but now you're trying to be a friend to offer her support in this time? I guess I'm just a little confused as to what I need to do.
I think for me as an empath, I understand that hard line because you already see somebody down. So you don't want to push them down even more. Especially the hardest part is when you hear them say an example. And for example, in this situation, she said that she was sharing something about that's happening in the relationship, and it's happened also in the friendship. And it's like, hello, how can you not see that what you're doing here is more of a repetitive pattern of the person's character, whether it be out of fear, out of this, out of that, you know? And I think that when she said that, I was like, oh my God, that's happened to me so many times. Not so many times with a lot of friendships, but I mean like when I've had it where I'm like, you're complaining about this and I have the same problem with this, but you're not seeing the connection of it. And I'll even put myself in that I have been told by others in the past, this is happening here and this is happening in our friendship as well. And I think for me, it was more like attitude when I was younger. But in the state of a friend that you are in right now, I think that there has to be a line of boundary so that you don't feel like you have to overextend yourself and be there for them and dismiss how you're feeling. I think that there is, if done with love, a way for you to not dismiss the way you guys are feeling and be able to talk about it in a loving manner. I learned this in therapy, the sandwich mechanism, which is when you need to confront somebody about a problem that you're having with them, and they either are a sensitive personality, an emotional personality, or maybe it might be a weird topic, is the sandwich. And the sandwich is the meat is in the middle and the bread and the condiments are on the outside. So what does that mean? That after every layer, you share something that you appreciate about the person. Now, you don't say it in a condescending way like, you suck at this, but I love you. Like, no. You do it in, hey, I want to have an open communication and conversation with you because I love you. But there are some things that have really affected me and I feel are affecting our friendship. And I know you're going through a really tough time right now in your relationship, but I feel like for me to be able to be your friend, I need to be open and honest with you. Now, you cannot say ever when you are saying how you feel, use a comparison of their relationship. In your brain, you have to act like you don't know in this moment what she is going through in her relationship and say, this is what happens with this and this is what happens with that. There is a chance that she will not be open, that she will not be receptive, and that she will not understand how you're feeling because in her brain, she's already attacking herself and going through the attacking of her partner of whatever clash they are having. But I don't believe that you should ignore your sentiment and the relationship that you and your friend are having in the clash just because they're going through something. I think that it can be done with love and whether it be in the best format that you believe, but you ultimately will not be a good friend to her unless you actually address the issue at hand. Because one day she's going to tell you something about her partner and you're going to blow up and everything is going to come at it. And at that point, there is not going to be any repair to the friendship. And at the end of the day, there's friends that I have argued with. There's friends that I have not seen eye to eye with. And there's friends that I've even had to take some time away from in different instances where they've been going through something or I've been going through something. But everything that I could say for the friendships that I love and care for is that the friendships I've loved and cared for, and even if it's taken me some time, we've communicated with love. And those are still my friends to this day. So I hope that helps. And for anybody else that may have gone through a similar situation, let me know what you would do and if you have any other questions. Okay, so that one was a little bit long and I know we're only supposed to do one, but I kind of want to do another one just to introduce the segment to you guys. So here is question number 2.
So I've been dating a guy who is slightly well known. He's a public figure and our relationship has been mostly private due to our hectic schedules and honestly just the need for discretion. We both travel frequently for work and I trust him, he trusts me. However, I recently saw some pictures of him out and about, not work related. And he didn't mention this to me. He did not mention anything about this event to me. It was a couple days ago and it's making me feel a little insecure, or a lot insecure actually. I'm torn between wanting to confront him about it and not wanting to seem jealous or insecure, even though I am those things right now. But I don't know how to approach this. How should I approach it? Do I approach it? How do I do it without coming across as needy or distrustful? Because I am hurt, but I don't want to come off as crazy, to be honest. Help.
Not help. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I think Spidey senses instantly went up, right? And I'm like, oh, because I hate that feeling. And it's so hard. Listen, first and foremost, and I've learned this from my older guy friends, a mature man is not going to ever think you're insecure for communicating, first and foremost. And I think that we deal with a lot of insecure men and really immature men. So that sucks, and sucks for both of us. But I have been in your situation and I have been gaslit so bad in the past for coming across an event. It's like, why were you looking? What were you doing? All this stuff. And none of that matters. It doesn't matter. The picture, like you said, he is a public figure. So it could have been from this place or that place. It doesn't matter. I think the biggest thing here is that I don't know how long they've been dating, one. And I also don't know what was he doing in the pictures. That to me is really key. Like, was he just sitting with like 3 guys at a table at an outing, an event, and it's an industry event? Or was he at Nobu all white party with 4 girls around him? That's a big difference, you know? And I think like it's hard for me to give advice when I don't have the context of the pictures because that's really important. But you still are allowed to be like, it doesn't matter if he was with guys or if he was with girls. Like, he didn't even tell me. So I guess my question would be, did he lie to you about where he was? Like, flat out lie to you and tell you that he was home, that he was studying, that he was on set, and he actually wasn't? Because that's a problem. Why is there lies happening? Like, we could have just talked about it. We don't need to control each other in dating. We should be communicative and open. At the end of the day, in a partnership, it's 2 individuals, especially in dating, it's 2 individuals that have their individual life. If you cannot just live freely while dating me, what are we doing? You know? So I think that it is due for a conversation. It doesn't need to be a big conversation. It doesn't need to be a serious conversation. It's just like, why didn't you mention that, you know, I happened to see this? Why didn't you mention that you were there? And then kind of see his vibe of what he answers. I think for me, a few red flags to watch out for is if he dismisses why you're asking. If he starts instantly going into, are you insecure? Or it's not that big of a deal. Or, I don't want to talk about this right now. Because everything is able to be talked about. And if something is not that big of a deal, then it should just be a light convo and that's it. But a big question for me to you would actually be, what are the contexts of those pictures? Because that's going to kind of shift a little bit more. And I don't know, the fact that it's a public figure, it's hard. I don't want to be a negative Nancy because I really don't want that. But girl, it's hard out here when you're dating somebody in the public eye. So I think you should have a conversation. I think you should definitely have open communication. And if open communication is not allowed, that's your first red flag, to really sit back and be like, is this something you want to entertain and put forth effort into? And only you know the answer to that. And just like our spidey senses ended up coming across those event pictures, I feel if you sit with yourself, your spidey senses and your woman intuition will tell you, not insecurity, but your woman intuition would tell you if you should really be harpering on that situation or if you just let it go. Because what you also don't want to do is bring in trauma or hurt from past relationships into this circumstance. So I hope that helped. And I can't wait to hear other submissions that you guys have. That's all for this episode of season 2. I cannot wait for everything that you guys are going to see in store for this season. We have some really fun guests, some people that I have never had the chance to have such in-depth conversations with, along with other close friends of mine that you guys will recognize, whether it be from who they are or if you follow me on social. So make sure to stay tuned. If you have any similarly curious questions, submit them. And until next time, bye.